See if anybody signs on this surprise live stream. What's up, Mike B. the One? How you doing, man? You were the first one tonight. Hello, Brandon. How are you tonight, sir? You're the second one tonight. Mike B. the One was number one. How are you guys doing tonight? I'm doing very well, Brandon. Brandon asked, he says, doing good. How are you doing, Johnny and Mike? I'm doing fantastic, Brandon. It's another day, another beautiful day. Play some Zelda. Mike says, play some Zelda, drinking and relaxing. Nice, man. That sounds like a fun night. So you guys y'all want to talk about motorcycles? Y'all want to talk about Tundras? Y'all want to, I'm open for any kind of discussion. I figure we have a live stream. I can show you the truck if you want. You know, Brandon says, I'm surprised Mark didn't do a live stream today. Brandon, he may still do one. But if he does one, it'll be within the next 15 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes. He typically does them around this time. Well, 8 o'clock Eastern time, which is 7 p.m. my time. But if he does log on, please let me know. And I will, I'll log off and we'll all go over to his place. I don't want to step on his toes. Brandon says, how's the sound system install going in the truck? Actually, Brandon, it is all the way installed. Let's go take a walk. Oh, by the way, there's the man cave. And I'm gonna turn the camera here. Give me a second. That's the shelf that I was telling you about. Now I have 10-foot ceilings, and you can see it goes all the way up. I'm gonna put a king-size bed in here. This is my man cave, so. That is not an alcohol still. That is a water still. I have large fish tanks, and distilled water is very expensive. So I distill my own water at home. Brandon says, that fits great. Yes, Brandon, that actually does. I'm going to show you the garage here in just a second, because I have 2 shelves like that I had gotten. So I'm going to turn the camera around again and show you this one. Perfect fit for my Tundra. Perfect fit. Thank you, Mike. Mike be the one says nice. Now, Brandon, you had asked about the sound system. Well, sir, let's take a look, shall we? I've definitely got the 10 hooked up with the amp. Mike says there's the beast. Yes, Mike, this is the beast. All right, so I'm gonna take y'all in the truck and let y'all see the sound system. Well, I say see it. Y'all will be able to hear it-ish, and I'll show you the mirrors jumping around. I don't want to bother the neighbors, so. Turn some lights on in here. It's a little dark. I don't ever listen to the like normal AM FM, so you guys have to just give me a minute to find a station. don't know the radio stations out here. I'm sorry, y'all. That sound system is huge. Brandon says, nice truck, looks great in the garage. In California, garages are too small for most trucks. Thank you, Brandon. I really appreciate that. This is actually the largest garage that we could afford. And it's 2-car. It fits the Tundra and the wife's Camry at the same time. Brandon says, that system is huge. It's just 110. It's 110 with a stock JBL sound system. And would you believe it if I told you there was like nothing good on the radio right now? It's not so much the music I'm trying to get you guys to hear. It's more I want you to see the mirror jumping, because it gets pretty loud. And it's not, there's nothing good on the radio. Oh well, I'll have to do it another time. I'll definitely do it another time and show y'all. I took a good video of it jumping, and I'll have to post it. But I'll open it up again and show you. Turn the camera around. So yes, I do lose a lot of back seat space, quite a bit. I mean, it's dark in there, but it's hard to get this thing to. But you see, it takes up a full 40% of. It takes up a full 40% of the back of the truck, so it's definitely, a lot of box space. Definitely a lot of box space. I love the way that truck looks. Okay, I'll get y'all another good shot. Man, I absolutely love the way that truck looks. But let's talk motorcycles instead of trucks. What do you guys think about the Harley-Davidson deal? Did you guys hear the news that while Trump is calling for a boycott on Harley-Davidson, the Secret Service is still purchasing Harley-Davidsons? Have you guys heard about that news yet? Brandon says, that's hilarious. I agree, Brandon. That is absolutely fantastic that the Secret Service is still going to be buying Harley Davidsons while Trump's asking for a boycott from the country. I mean, you got to laugh at it, man. I'm not a very political person. I just think that you got to give somebody time in office to do something. I mean, I didn't vote for Trump. I didn't vote, period. There was nobody that I could really agree with. So, I mean, you just got to give the guy a chance in office to do something. It seemed like everybody wanted to give Obama sainthood, like a week after he got elected, and he hadn't done anything. And Trump gets in office and he barely has a chance to do anything, and they're all talking about impeaching him. So, I mean, I think we need to give him a chance to do something. Whether it's good or bad, he's got to do something. Brandon says, I don't get the point of his boycotts on everything. Kind of a joke, if you ask me. Brandon says, I felt the same way with the election. No one I really agreed with. And that's it. I mean, we had somebody in office who didn't care about the majority of America. And then we had somebody who is trying to get in office that he's a businessman, and you know what he's about. He's about the money. I mean, it's Donald Trump. His motivation is money. So at least with him, we understand what angle he's approaching from. I mean, that's my thought. But I'm not trying to get too political, because I hear YouTube's kind of funny about that stuff. It fell in line with the tariffs up here. in the boycott against Harley. But I mean, I found that kind of funny when I woke up this morning and read that article about, the Secret Service is going to be buying Harleys. See if I can't find that article and tell you who it was. I think it was on CNN or Fox. It was on one of the big news outlets. The Business Journal. I don't know if y'all have heard of that one. The Milwaukee Business Journal. See if y'all can see that. U.S. Secret Service orders Harley-Davidson motorcycles despite Trump's boycott call. Interesting. Harley, Brandon says Harley is a business, and they are going to build bikes where it is most economical. Brandon, I absolutely agree with that philosophy. In business, you got to make money. You've got to do what's going to make more financial sense. But do not claim to be an American-made company if you're not American-made anymore. I mean, that's my big problem with them. I happen to think that if a company says they're American-made, they need to be American-made. If they say they're made in Mexico, make them in Mexico. I don't have a problem with where they're made. Just tell me where they're made and be honest about it. Brandon says that's true. Mike says I'm a conservative, but I don't like boycott. I don't like boycotting, but I love what he's doing. Harley's aren't going anywhere. I watched the bikers for Trump. I agree. Harley's not going anywhere, and as much as Trump's going to call for a boycott, he can't. He can't. It's not going to happen. And the reason why, Trump owns Harleys. I mean, yeah, he can get rid of them, but he won't. He won't because it's a status symbol to him. So, what he's really meaning is everybody except for him should boycott Harley. Yeah, Harley's not going anywhere, Mike. I agree. And it is kind of ludicrous for Trump to be asking for a boycott. Brandon says, I thought they were building bikes to be sold in the U.S. and bikes sold elsewhere, built elsewhere. I believe that's the case, Brandon, but you still can't tell me that it's an American-made bike. Those bikes are going to be assembled here in America. The ones sold here in America will be assembled here in America, but it's not going to be... the parts aren't going to be made here because the parts are going to be cheaper to be made other places, and that's no longer an American-made bike. That's an American assembled bike, and I'm okay with that. But be honest, be honest with me about it. Tell me, look, it's not. We don't fabricate every part in America, but what we do is we have those parts fabricated in other countries because we can get them made at a cheaper price with more quality material, and then we'll bring it here and assemble it. I can accept that. Brandon says that's kind of like the DeWalt tools then, assembled in America with global money. Exactly, and look, let's talk about that. DeWalt tools are absolutely fantastic. They're absolutely fantastic. Some of the best tools on the planet. And they're made globally. All of the parts are from around the globe. And they're just assembled here in America to make a very great tool. And I have no problem with that. I'm one of those people that I don't necessarily have to have a bike that's made in America. I mean, I ride the Honda. In fact, believe it or not, I ride my Honda more than I ride my Harley. But that's because the Harley's just my big beast, and I don't have a whole lot of miles on it, and I'm trying to keep it down. I want that to be a survivor bike. Enough about that. Let's get back to discussing Harley. So my big problem with Harley is they're claiming to be made in America, and it's not. That's my only problem with them is how can you trust a company who's going to outright look you in the face and lie to you? It's a company. It's a company. They're out there to make money. So I get that they're out there to make money. But don't lie to me. You can take my money and tell me the truth. I'm going to be absolutely fine with that because I love the product. When you like the product, you're not going to mind paying for it. Plain and simple. I just request that you be honest with me. I mean, my biggest problem with actually the dealerships, not the manufacturer, is that they charge so much. HD, when you go in a Harley Davidson store, HD does not stand for Harley Davidson. It stands for $100. Go in there and find something for under $100. Or high dollar, depending on how you look at it, because the majority of their stuff is over $100. Mike B. the one said, F and A, brother. I mean, it's true, man. Just don't lie to me. I don't mind spending my money with a company. I would rather spend my money on a company that is going to tell me, look, my engines are built in Taiwan, and my frames are built in India, and my tens are built in the Philippines, but we bring it here and we put it all together for you, and it's the best that we can do. And look, if the product is good, rock with it. It's a good product. There's nothing wrong with that product. Because it's not made in America doesn't make it inferior to anybody else. I mean, it's assembled in a different area. Well, manufactured in a different area. Let's say that, fabricated in a different area. Brandon says companies need to do a better job disclosing where everything is made. Brandon, you know, I agree with that. It would be nice to know where everything is coming from. You know, the raw steel. Let me know where that's coming from. If it's coming from the mines in Africa, or if there's steel mines in Africa, I have no clue. You know, if the metal's coming from Africa, tell me the metal's coming from Africa. The wood's coming from Antarctica, and I know there's no wood in Antarctica that we could get to. I don't think. Interesting concept. I'll have to look that up and get back to you guys about that one. But I mean, just let me know where it's from, and not just with motorcycles, with where they're built, with everything, absolutely everything. Let me know where it's from. I might not want to purchase something from that place. I might know something that nobody else does, and I just want to keep it to myself. Who knows? It's personal reasons. And I know I'm going to get a lot of grief comments saying I'm racist on that, but hey, whatever. I don't even really care. Everybody deserves to have the freedom that they want, the happy life that they want. So, to me, that's what the American way is. Mike B1 says Tundras are manufactured in Japan and assembled in Texas, and I personally believe the best truck I could have bought. Mike, that is actually a great example, sir. Thank you. The Tundras are completely fabricated in Japan. That is correct. And then the parts are shipped here and they're assembled here. They're assembled with pride in Texas. That's absolutely fantastic. Tundra is a great, outstanding truck, one of the best trucks on the planet. Brandon says same thing happens in the pickup truck industry. The so-called American brands are not the most American made. One of the outlets did a story on that a while back and found the Honda Ridgeline to be the most American, the most made in America. I froze up, guys. Can y'all still hear me? Let me know if you can hear me, because I froze up and it may or may not come back here. Okay, cool. I'm going to keep going for a few minutes, and if it doesn't kick back on, I'll go ahead and restart the live stream and all of that. At least I'm not in like a bad pose, scratching my nose, making it look like I'm picking it or something. or with my mouth open, making it look like I'm catching flies. You know, like Ford, man, a lot of Ford parts are made in Mexico. And that, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I don't happen to think Ford's the greatest example. I'd rather the Tundra example, plain and simply because there I am. Hey guys, I'm back. I'd rather the Tundra example, plain and simple, because of it's a great truck. It's a great product at a great value. I mean, yeah, let me correct that. They charge a little much for them, but it's a great product, and you do get a great value for it. You get a nice, reliable pickup truck that you can have for a very, very, very long time. Brandon says most Chevy trucks are assembled in Mexico and Canada now. There you go. That's an American-made truck assembled in another country. Just, it's cheaper to do it that way. And I have no problem with that, but be honest about it. Let me know, look, yeah, we still design them here in America, but we're going to assemble them other places. Well, we're going to manufacture them other places and then bring them back here and assemble it here. I'm okay with that. That's absolutely fantastic. A lot of great products come from the world working together. When the world works together, a lot of things get accomplished. The problem is you have people who don't want to work together, or they want to hinder instead of just getting out of the way. I don't know if y'all remember back in the 90s, the Army had a commercial that was the lead, follow, or get out of the way. Well, that's exactly it. A lot of people, if you're not meant for leading, follow. If you're not meant for following or leading, then get out the way, because you're doing nothing but hurting. Not to go on a political rant again here, guys. I'm sorry. Brandon says, on cars, the location of assembly is often listed on the window stickers. Where is it listed on motorcycles? Brandon, motorcycles don't have window stickers, and they really don't even get an assembly sticker, like a destination sheet. It's a title, man, and that's. I'm glad you bring that up, because most motorcycles, they either say they're made in America or they're made overseas. Japan, prime example, great example, Mahonda CB1000R. That bike is a Japanese bike that is built in Italy. The CB1000R, I found out, is built in Italy, not in Japan. But it's a Japanese bike built in Italy. All of the parts are like the Tundra, they're assembled in Japan and then shipped over to Italy where it's assembled. And I mean, good combination. But unless you look for that information, Brandon, you really won't find it on a motorcycle. It'll say it on the frame, on the sticker, made in whatever, right by the VIN number. It'll have a star, made in, say, Japan, or made in Italy, or made in America, or made in the USA, or wherever it's made. And Harley Davidson, like my Fat Boy Low, it says made in America. Is it really truly made in America? That's actually a good question. That's a good question. I think my Harley was made before they opened up any foreign plants for Harley Davidson, but I'm not 100%. So it could be fabricated from someplace else. Interesting. That's an interesting concept to think about. Mike B. the One says, yes, sir. So, Mike B. the One says, do you ever watch Moto Madness on YouTube? Yes, I do, Mike, and that is. I'm not a subscriber to it, but I do watch it often. It's on my recommended list often. I'm still gonna promote this guy, the Illustrator. Absolutely fantastic with his information. I mean, he did a 3-part special about the rise and fall of Buell, and man, I'm gonna regret saying this on YouTube, because it's gonna be seen the world over. Maybe not. Maybe that's a little too cocky. Who knows? It's the rise and fall of Eric Buell, not Eric Buell, the rise and fall of Buell motorcycles, and I'm gonna be honest, man, it almost brought a tear to my eye. Eric Buell's passion, it runs deep, man. If we all had the passion that man has, we would all be doing amazing things like he has. Without giving too much away, I mean, I'm just going to tell you, the man was 20, 30 years ahead of his time. Back in the 80s and mid 90s, from the 80s through the mid 90s, he was doing things to motorcycles that still are not being done today because he patented it. Things with the brakes, like instead of having a single-sided brake on a motorcycle, you put two of them, which we all knew that it applies equal braking force, so that you don't have, when you have a brake on one side, it pulls the wheel to that side. Friction, obviously, it's going to cause it, but it pulls the wheel to that side. When you have it on both sides, what happens is it applies equal pressure, so that it just slows down and stops. What Eric Buell did, it still applies a twisting motion to the hub, though. What Eric Buell did was he took and mounted the disc to the outside of the rim. So let's say this is the rim, and the middle is the hub. Instead of having the disc mounted to the hub, he mounted it to the outside of the rim, so that it applied that turning braking force to a larger diameter, which actually hindered that pulling motion. I mean, that's smart. That's ingenious to think about that, and then to patent it so nobody else can do it. How come this man hasn't been picked up? How come people haven't realized? And I figured out why. It's the power plant in those bikes. He did a good job building that bike, but it's still a V twin, and unfortunately, that's what he likes. The majority of people aren't in the super bike category for V-twin. It's not a fast bike. I mean, his is. You can look him up now. He's there. Technically they're still in business. Eric Buell Racing. You can look it up. They still. I want to say they still manufacture motorcycles. Mike be the one says he's like the Tesla over motorcycles. Yes, Mike. That is a great example. He is like Elon Musk of motorcycles. I'm talking full carbon fiber fairings before anybody else. Ultra lightweight aluminum frames before anybody else. You know, we're talking technology. The man was a genius. Well, it still is a genius. I'm saying was. He still is a genius. And it's a shame that he just doesn't get the credit that he deserves. I genuinely feel for him because it's a man who has a dream, and that dream is very much this is my brother. I'm not going to answer, but that dream is very much alive, and it has its value to it. But he's barking up the wrong trees. He's chasing the wrong strings. He's trying to get Harley to back him. He's trying to do it on his own. He purchased a motorcycle company that was in England. He purchased everything, the entire setup. It was one big deal, and he took everything and brought it here to America, and worked on it, and came up with the best thing that he possibly could. And look. His bikes, his current bikes are absolutely fantastic. The technology that's in them is beyond what anybody could ever expect. They're fast. They have a lot of stopping power. They're great bikes. Brandon says, not a fan of Tesla. I don't think the company will last very long. You know, Brandon, I'm not a fan of the Tesla cars either. I'm just not a fan of an electric car, man. That's not my cup of tea. Let's put it that way. I'm trying to think of the polite ways to put it. I don't want to get banned from YouTube. I mean, you can see EricBuellRacing.com. I mean, I don't know if you can see the bikes, but I mean, the bikes are absolutely gorgeous. He's done so well designing them. Just nobody knows. Everybody thinks that once Harley shut down the the Buell division of Harley Davidson, that was it. That was the end of the story for Eric Buell. Man, let me tell you, that was not the end of the story. There is so much more. And in order to find out that story, you guys are going to have to go check it out over on the Illustrators channel, The Rise and Fall of Buell Racing, not Eric Buell, because I mean Eric Buell's still around, and as far as I know, I'm doing well. I'm gonna reiterate the channel name is The Illustrator, and the series is called The Rise and Fall of Buell Racing. It's a 3-part series, like 10-15 minutes each part, and it's very, very well worth the watch. Another watch that you should watch by him is definitely why the Yamaha sounds different than the rest of the bikes. And I'm just going to say it has to do with the crank. Yamaha has what's called a cross plane crank, and everybody else uses a flat plane crank. You want to know more than that? Check out the Illustrator on why a Yamaha sounds different than the rest of the bikes, specifically in R1. It's really good, a really good watch. It'll educate people in history. I mean, and that's really what it is. He does a lot of good videos on history. He's got the history of sport bikes, the history of cafe racers. I want to say he's got the history of cafe racers and sport bikes. I know he's got the history of, and I'm pointing to the garage, the Tundras in there, the Hondas in the workshop. The evolution of naked sport bikes, street fighters, and that's what the Honda is. It's a naked street fighter, neo cafe racer, whatever you want to call it. Man, I certainly do appreciate you guys giving me them 2 thumbs up. I'll give them right back to you, gents. Y'all are all right showing up tonight. I know other people will watch it later on. No worries. Comment down below and let us know what your thoughts are on why Harley is having the issues that they're having. Comment and let us know what you think about the Secret Service buying Harley Davidsons when Trump's calling for a boycott. I think it's funny personally. Trying to think of what else. I'm going to be doing a few videos, a few more videos of just like the Tundra and the bikes and stuff like this. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to do a few videos where I'm not going to be on, I'm not going to do any live streams for a little while. But I'm going to sit down and edit some videos of the Tundra, of the Harley, and of the Honda, and of the Camry, and post those up, and get some footage that way. Hopefully we can get some good footage. The last time I tried to get footage on the Honda, I had a little too much fun, got a little vigorous with the throttle, and when the bike came back down, the camera tilted down and got like a great shot of the back wheel, and that's it. I've got probably 45 minutes of just the back wheel going round and round and round. Yes, I got 3 thumbs up now. Thanks, gents. That's what I'm talking about. Mike B. the one says Tesla versus Edison. Yes, Mike. Yes, I agree. That's actually a better analogy. Thank you. Eric Buell is the Tesla of motorcycles, while Mr. Kawasaki, Mr. Honda, Mr. Yamaha, Mr. Suzuki, more like some people watching. Yes, I don't know how we pull that one off, but I'll buy that for $1. Might be the one says the Secret Service knows the best tools for the job, regardless of who's in office. Yeah, I agree. They do. They do know who what the best tool is for the job, no matter who's in office. I'm going to disagree with the fact that Harley is the best on it. I just got the notification that TD, that Tundra dude, is online. Let's go ahead and switch over there, and I'll see you guys in a couple of weeks, I guess. Let's meet over there, Brandon. I'm headed there right now. Talk with you guys there. Later.